Have you ever thought that most of your life happens almost invisibly, while your eyes search for external explanations for everything? There is a constant movement inside you, repeated thousands of times a day, that reveals secrets about your energy. This movement is so natural that it goes unnoticed. Breathing. On average, the body inhales and exhales more than 20,000 times in a single day. But the essential question is, why such a high number? And even more importantly, what is hidden behind this automatic process that never stops, even when you sleep? The answer is fascinating. Each breath is not just air coming in and out. It is a silent message, a vibrational code that records and projects your inner state. You may ask yourself, if this is true, why do so many people keep repeating the same problems, even when they try to change their thoughts and behaviors? And another natural question, aren't we exaggerating when we say that breathing has power over reality? The conclusion is simple and straightforward. What really determines your life is not only your external actions, but the quality of the energy you transmit. This energy manifests itself in every inhalation and every exhalation. Not realizing this is like living inside a magnificent temple without ever turning on the lights. Before continuing, write in the comments where you follow us, Globe Showing Europe Africa, because this sharing strengthens the stream of consciousness we are creating together. What happens is that most people breathe unconsciously. They wake up already in a hurry, rush to appointments, deal with traffic, take care of tasks, and at the end of the day, they barely notice their own bodies. During all this time, they breathe, but they don't feel it. That is the big mistake. Automatic breathing carries tensions, fears, and anxieties, returning exactly the same charge to the environment. Each breath is like a reflection of your inner condition, sending invisible signals that affect people and situations around you. Now imagine that each inhalation and exhalation works like a line of code in a cosmic program. If that code is written with words of anxiety and doubt, the result will be disorder. But if it is composed of serenity and confidence, the system responds with harmony. That is why many people say, I work hard, but nothing changes. Because they try to change the outside world while continuing to write the same internal code. Breathing is not just about surviving. It is about silently conversing with the universe. Modern science has revealed evidence of this. The HeartMath Institute has demonstrated that breathing, when synchronized with the heart, creates a coherent electromagnetic field that expands meters beyond the body. This field affects not only internal biology, but also the energy around us. In addition, scientist Fritz Albert Popp showed that the human body emits biophotons, particles of light that vary according to emotional state. When breathing is deep and conscious, this light becomes organized and stable. When it is shallow and anxious, the emission is chaotic. In other words, the way you breathe literally changes the light that your body radiates. But this knowledge is not new. Ancient traditions already knew this. In India, there was talk of pranayama, the mastery of prana, the life force. In Egypt, mystery schools taught that each breath built a subtle body of freedom. In Hebrew, the word ruach indicated the breath that connects spirit and matter. Among the Greeks, pneuma was described as the breath of life. Despite differences in language and culture, they all pointed to the same truth. Breath is the bridge between the human and the divine, between the visible and the invisible. Now, think, if all this is happening all the time, why do we insist on ignoring it? The answer is simple: habit. From an early age, we learn to breathe automatically, as if it were just a survival mechanism. But the reality is that each breath contains the key to transformation. At every moment, We have the opportunity to choose to send signals of peace or confusion to the universe. Try a little test right now. Breathe in slowly, hold for a second, and exhale slowly. Notice how the sensation already changes. It's not just psychological. Hormones begin to reorganize, brain waves find another rhythm, and even muscles relax. This is science in action, available at any moment. If this simple gesture has already made a difference, like this video, thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to awaken this power. By spreading this practice, you also strengthen your own choice. But breathing holds even more secrets. Between one breath and the next, there is an almost imperceptible interval. This tiny silence is called the quantum gap. It is there in that lapse of just tenths of a second that the door opens to infinite possibilities. The ancients called this space the sacred point of creation. It is there that the mind quiets and consciousness shines. Perhaps you have already experienced something like this in intense situations. Moments of danger when time seems to stand still, or moments of deep love when everything is suspended. In those seconds, you touch that space of silence between breaths. It is not empty. It is full of potential. It is there that the purest intention reaches the universe. The fascinating thing is that this does not require special conditions. You don't need external temples or complex rituals. It is available in the simple act of breathing mindfully. Each time you access this interval, you reorganize your energy, send a clear signal to the invisible field, and make room for a new reality. This practice is also a way to cleanse the inner temple. Each conscious breath removes emotional dust, releases accumulated tensions, and reorganizes old patterns. Gradually, the body stops carrying weight, the mind frees itself from excess thoughts, and the spirit finds serenity. It is like restoring a forgotten cathedral, returning shine to the walls and clarity to the stained glass windows. If you have understood this far, you have already realized that breathing is not trivial. It is the key. It is the silent language with which you converse with life. Now, the choice is yours. Continue writing automatic codes that repeat the past, or use each breath as an opportunity to create a different future. Before continuing, write the word respiration wind face in the comments. This gesture confirms your decision and inspires others to do the same. Remember, every breath is a chance to start over. Take advantage of this key that is in your hands, or rather, in your lungs. Breathing is like a secret mirror. Every time air enters and leaves, it not only sustains life, but also reflects what is inside you. When we don't pay attention, it just repeats old patterns, carrying accumulated tension with it and returning the same energy to the environment. But the moment you stop to observe, something extraordinary happens. You realize that it is not the breath itself, but the one who witnesses it. This awakening is the beginning of a new consciousness. Try it right now. Breathe in slowly, breathe out slowly, and see what happens. If you can observe this process, it means that there's a presence within you that is greater than your thoughts and feelings. This silent presence is the true essence. It is not altered by fear, anger, or even joy. All of these pass like moving clouds, but consciousness remains intact like the sky. This understanding has been taught in different traditions around the world. Indian sages called it Sakshi, the inner observer. Buddhism described it as awakened nature. Mystical Christianity spoke of the mind of Christ. Although the names change, the truth is the same. You're not the river of thoughts, but the space in which they flow. This perception transforms life because it changes the relationship with emotions. When there is no observation, any feeling dominates. A moment of fear is enough to generate hasty decisions. A moment of anger can create words you regret. But when there is witnessing, you become master of your own reactions. Instead of reacting automatically, you choose how to respond. It is in this choice that true freedom lies. Modern science confirms what the ancients already knew. Researchers have found that when someone observes their own thoughts without judgment, the brain begins to create new neural patterns. Dr. Joe Dispenza states that just 7 minutes of conscious attention is enough to begin breaking old circuits built up over years. This means that the simple practice of observing can dissolve ingrained conditioning and open up new possibilities. Now, imagine if this observation is applied not only to the mind, but also to the breath. The impact multiplies. There's a special point between one breath and the next. An interval so short that it goes unnoticed by most. This space is called the quantum gap by science. It is not empty, as many believe. On the contrary, it is the door to infinite possibilities. The ancient Egyptians described this same point as the place of the birth of light. Indian masters considered it the peak of meditation. Hebrews spoke of the sacred breath that united spirit and matter. Different traditions pointed to this silence between breaths as the space of creation. Perhaps you have already felt this without realizing it. Moments of accident when time seems to stand still. Instants of deep love when the whole world is suspended. In these situations, you touched the quantum gap, the silent crack that directly connects consciousness to the universe. The most impressive thing is that it is not magic but physics. Science shows that the presence of the observer alters the behavior of matter. This means that when you breathe consciously and access this space, you send vibrational signals capable of reorganizing your reality. The problem is that most people never experience this power because they're stuck on the next step, the next task, the next thought. They're always waiting for the next breath and never stop to notice the space between them. It is in this interval that silence is born, and it is in this silence that clarity appears. When mental noise dissolves, purer intentions emerge and are sent to the universe without obstacles. Now imagine if you could stay in this space for a few more seconds. What would change in your life? You would realize that you don't have to chase after so many external things to feel peace. You would discover that true strength does not lie in money or the approval of others, but in that inner silence that reveals a connection to something much greater. This understanding transforms the way you live. It is at this point that breathing becomes more than biology. It becomes spiritual practice, applied science, and a tool for creation. Every time you breathe in and out mindfully, you're clearing old patterns, reorganizing your energy, and sending a new code to the universe. It's like updating a running program. You replace outdated instructions with new lines that reflect who you want to be. Do an exercise now. Take a deep breath, hold it for a moment, and before you exhale, notice the silence that exists in that brief interval. This space is the portal. In it, you can plant a simple intention such as, I am calm, or I am abundance. Notice how this phrase gains another strength when spoken in this moment of stillness. If this made sense, write in the comments. Je suis le témoin de ma respiration. This phrase reinforces in your mind the role of observer and helps others to enter this stream of consciousness. This practice does not require a specific time or place. It can be done at home, at work, on public transportation, at any time. What matters is the quality of attention. Every time you breathe consciously, you open a window to transform the present. You don't have to wait for perfect conditions. The opportunity is always available 20,000 times a day. And remember, this process doesn't just benefit you. When your breathing becomes more conscious, your energy field changes. The coherence generated in the heart and brain expands beyond the body. influencing people and environments. This means that by practicing, you contribute to collective transformation. Your inner silence is like a wave that touches everything around you. The invitation, therefore, is for you not to see breathing as something trivial, but as a sacred key. It is the simplest and most accessible way to change your life. It does not require extreme effort, just presence. Just stop, observe, and allow the silence between breaths to reveal itself. This is the space where miracles happen. Before we continue, share this video with someone who needs to awaken to this power. Also, leave a thumbs up to strengthen this chain. Together, we create a movement of silent transformation, breath after breath. Since the beginning of time, human beings have built temples to symbolize their connection with the divine. Every stone erected, every design, every sound resonated as a reminder that life was sacred. But there's an even older and more perfect temple, the body. It has no marble columns, but bones that support it. There are no colorful stained glass windows, but eyes that reflect worlds. There are no external chants, but breaths that echo silently like invisible mantras. The problem is that many live without recognizing this temple. They pass through it like distracted visitors, accumulating dust in its corridors. That is why so many carry pain, anxiety, and emotional burdens. Breathing consciously is like restoring this forgotten temple. Each inhalation acts like a flame that illuminates a dark hall. Each exhalation removes old dust that blocked the passage. Gradually, you notice tensions stored in your chest, memories hidden in your muscles, stories engraved in every part of your body. These signs are not just physical discomforts. They are records of experiences, marks of unexpressed emotions, echoes of inherited traumas. Modern science confirms this. Epigenetics shows that suffering does not remain only in the mind, but leaves impressions on genes, which can be passed down through generations. The weight you feel may not be yours alone, but also a legacy of past pain. The good news is that, just as these records were engraved, they can also be transformed. Each conscious breath is an opportunity to rewrite this code. Breathing in with presence means bringing light. Breathing out with intention means releasing what no longer serves you. Over time, the energy that was once trapped begins to flow. The body ceases to be a repository of memories and becomes a source of freedom. This is not just a feeling. It is real transformation, measured even by scientific instruments that observe changes in heart rate, hormonal balance, and biophoton emission. Now, think about what would happen if this inner temple were completely clean and harmonized. Imagine each cell vibrating like a tuned crystal, each organ functioning in perfect symphony, each breath echoing like a sacred song. In this state, not only is your physical health strengthened, but your mind finds clarity and your spirit expands. Everyday life ceases to be a constant struggle and becomes a natural flow. What seemed impossible begins to happen with ease, because the field around you reflects your inner order. Take a break now. Breathe in deeply, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly. Notice the immediate effect. Perhaps it is a feeling of calm, perhaps just a slight relaxation in your shoulders. This is the first sign that you are not stuck with accumulated weight. With a simple breath, it is already possible to make room for something new. If this exercise made sense to you, write the word breathing wind face in the comments. This gesture reinforces in your mind the decision to choose your own strength and also inspires others to follow the same path. But the transformation does not stop with the body. Conscious breathing is also a bridge between you and the universe. The invisible field that surrounds each person is constantly updated by the breathing pattern. If the breath carries anxiety, this field transmits restlessness. If it carries serenity, it transmits harmony. This means that your personal practice benefits not only yourself, but also everyone around you. Your peace becomes a seed that germinates in environments, relationships, and even events. The ancients knew this. They did not build external temples solely for worship, but as symbols of the inner temple. The architecture reflected the energetic structure of the body. The staircases resembled the ascent of vital energy. The columns imitated the firmness of the spine. The chants were echoes of conscious breathing. Everything served to remind us that the sacred was already within each human being. Today, science confirms that this symbolism was not superstition, but codified wisdom. Every conscious breath is a ritual. When you inhale, you connect with the source of life. When you exhale, you release blockages that impede the flow. This simple cycle is the essence of creation. It does not require complicated ceremonies, just attention. Every time you choose to breathe consciously, you're choosing to transform your inner temple and, with that, shape a new reality. Your daily life then changes color. Walking, working, eating, resting, everything can be permeated by this state. It is not about abandoning responsibilities, but about living them with a different energy. The difference is not in the tasks themselves, but in the way you breathe while performing them. That is what transforms the ordinary into the sacred. Science proves that this practice even alters the way the brain and heart function. Research shows that conscious breathing regulates hormones, strengthens the immune system, and promotes states of internal coherence that benefit every cell. This means that it is not just a spiritual metaphor, but a physical and measurable process. Conscious breathing is updating your own body, reprogramming it to function in harmony. This is the secret that has always been before our eyes, but rarely noticed. Each inhalation and exhalation is an opportunity to start over. Each cycle is a chance to cleanse, balance, and create. There is no need to wait for great external miracles. The miracle is already happening 20,000 times a day within you. The difference lies in realizing and using this power consciously. Now do another exercise. Breathe in deeply, and before breathing out, notice the silence that exists between one movement and another. This almost invisible interval is the most powerful space you have. There, in the quantum gap, lies infinite potential. It is there that your intention reaches the universe without barriers. Use this moment to plant a simple phrase, I am light. Notice how this statement vibrates differently when spoken in the silence between breaths. This is the portal to conscious creation. Share this practice with someone who needs transformation. Send this video, leave your thumbs up, and comment breathing. These simple gestures strengthen your own choice and also help others to awaken. The body is a temple, breathing is the key, and you are the guardian. By embracing this truth, you stop living as a victim of circumstances and become the creator of your own reality. Breathing is life, but it is also liberation. And every time you inhale with attention and exhale with intention, you light a light in the inner temple that can never be extinguished.